Well, I thought you guys would find this very interesting, especially for those of you who love cabbage. So, so basically, I have been seeing a trend happening around Disneyland. Not even to mention California Adventure, but Disneyland itself. You see, I like to go to the different restaurants and try out the different foods, especially going back to foods that I especially love. And I've been noticing a trend, which is that quite often, a lot of the side dishes or even brand new recipes for old menu items have been including cabbage. And so, to some extent, some of it is just adding cabbage to something, such as like a po' boy or something that you might get in New Orleans Square. But then there's replacing whole side dishes with like cups of slaw, cabbage slaw, that is. Um, and even to the extent of replacing meat products with cabbage slaw. In the instance of Rancho del Zocalo, where my favorite dish there, which is the burrito at oh geez, I forget the name of it. They have a carnitas burrito there. Burrito Guadalajara burrito, whatever. Anyway, the Guadalajara burrito is my favorite. It has the carnitas, which is pulled pork basically, but just Mexican style. And it's usually served. The burrito inside has rice and beans, and it's served with a side of rice and beans. And anyway, I really liked this burrito, despite the fact that it reflects everything that's already on the side dish of the plate anyway. But the problem with it is they replaced literally half of the carnitas in the burrito with pineapple cabbage slaw, which, first of all, putting cabbage in the burrito to begin with was already strange. But the fact that it was a pineapple cabbage slaw was even more strange. And so, yeah, so there's that. And then the fact that the carnitas itself weren't really carnitas anymore. They were cubed pork. And it looked like they were actually sauteed, or not sauteed, but seared on a grill. So it wasn't even carnitas. It was just cubed pork that was seared and then put in the burrito. Mm-hmm. Very chewy and very hard, and carnitas are supposed to be super soft and melt in your mouth. So it was just a completely different burrito, but they still called it the same burrito. And yes, it still contained rice and beans. So it was a very, very strange combination. And anyway, this isn't the only restaurant to have it. As a matter of fact, you guys, just before this stream, I've created a small list of restaurants that now feature either cabbage or cabbage slaw. And they go like this. So you have Hungry Bear, which has a cabbage slaw, as well as cabbage in one of their brand new fish sandwiches. You have French Market, who has cabbage in one of its po' boys or sandwiches. You can also get cabbage on the side as a slaw, in case if you don't like the sides that they already have. At Riverboat Terrace, you get cabbage slaw. And already you guys are probably thinking, well, these are the, Creole and backwoods restaurants. Of course they have cabbage or slaw. Okay, well then let's talk about Rancho del Zocalo, or Red Rose Tavern for that matter, which also has a cabbage slaw in one of its sandwiches. Or perhaps Galactic Grill, which used to be called Tomorrowland Terrace, also has cabbage slaw, as well as Carnation Cafe, which has cabbage slaw. Jolly Holiday, T-Will says cabbage is not Creole. That's true, cabbage is not Creole, but it is Southern. They do have a lot of slaw, and so Disney figures, well, Southern is the same as Creole, according to Disney. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Carnation Cafe and Jolly Holiday Restaurant feature cabbage, as well as Pizza Planet in Tomorrowland. Yes, the pizza restaurant has cabbage. Bengal Barbecue also has cabbage. And those aren't even the only restaurants in Disneyland. I'm pretty sure that more and more restaurants are going to get on this new cabbage train, including and we will be talking about this later, there will be cabbage in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And once again, let me reiterate, this is just Disneyland Park alone. This isn't even the hotels or Disney California Adventure, which also has cabbage. So there's that. And then the other thing I was going to talk about, which relates to cabbage, is Food and Wine Festival. For the first time, I participated in the Food and Wine Festival yesterday on Friday. And it came to no surprise that some of the food offerings were cabbage. Anyway, a lot of people are probably wondering, so what's with the cabbage? Well, I can tell you from experience, ordering food for restaurants and things like that, cabbage is like rarely eaten unless it is made into a slaw. So when Disney needs to make their grocery shopping a little cheaper, they turn to cabbage because it's like one of the cheapest things you can buy, even cheaper than tomatoes. So anyway, yeah, so now everything is turning to cabbage, and it's okay, in my opinion, to have cabbage. But the problem is when you start replacing meat, like in a burrito that everyone expects to have meat, with cabbage, it makes me really angry. And also the fact that there are literally like 100, at least 100 other options when it comes to vegetables that are not so popular to replace with cabbage, you know? And so it's just like, why cabbage? You know, it's not exactly the cheapest of the cheap ones, but anyway. So, Food and Wine Festival. Now, I didn't get to participate too much because, well, you see, I thought that by bringing $30 with me, I would have enough money. Silly me. Anyway, I got there and I was able to, well, I stood in line because the first thing I wanted to get was I wanted to try out like wine. Obviously, it's the Food and Wine Festival. I like wine. I'm a big wine person.
Alex got blackout drunk, you guys. You won't even believe it. Just kidding.
No, he's not that far off, actually. So anyway, so okay. So I waited in this big long line because apparently there's only one booth in the Food and Wine Festival that sells wine. I mean, go figure. I mean, of all the booths, there must be like 12 booths. There's only one that sells wine. And so everybody was waiting in this line and I was looking at the menu and at first it looked really good. I was like, oh, wow, look at all these wines and blah, blah, blah. And it was like the cheapest wine was $12. And I was like, okay, all right, $12 for a glass of wine. But then when I saw people walking away with the $12 glasses of wine, it was actually a wine sample that was $12. I was kind of like, no. And I thought about getting, like, they have these things where they give you 3 different wine samples that you can walk away with for like $17.50. I almost did that, but then I realized $17.50, that's literally more than half the amount of money I have, and I haven't even tried the food yet. So when it came to wine, I just went to the Golden Vine Winery up on the hill and got myself a glass of Monterey Pinot Noir because I like Pinot Noirs, and it was pretty good. It kind of had a kick at the beginning, but went down smooth. Anyway, it was okay. So I was sipping on that. Then I went to get something food-wise, and I ended up getting like this. It's like a pie. It's like how do I describe it? Okay, so it's got like a pie crust, and then on the inside, they've got like this raspberry mousse, which was like really good. And it was very subtle and very delicious. As a matter of fact, like on top of that was this other mousse that had like no flavor, but it was still delicious somehow. And then on top of that were blueberries, blackberries, and strawberries that had a glaze on them. It was the entire pie thing was really delicious. Cost me about $6 for this little tiny like thing, which is fine. $6 is fine. And honestly, that thing can go really well with a white wine, like that little dessert by itself. I ended up not buying anything else from the Food and Wine Festival only because the lines were really long and everything was like cabbage. So I was like, no, I had cabbage earlier that day, and I was just kind of like, I don't want to have any more cabbage. So, and it was getting really crazy because it was the first day of Food and Wine Festival. So everybody is there drinking beer, wine, margaritas, mixed fruit drinks, that kind of thing. Everybody, it's packed. People are carting around alcohol and getting tipsy. So I don't like that atmosphere. It reminds me of a carnival atmosphere. I don't like carnivals. So, I mean, that's exactly the type of atmosphere that Walt Disney wanted to avoid at Disneyland. And unfortunately, it's not coming to Disneyland just yet, but the doors for those floodgates are being installed as we speak. Mm-hmm. Anywho, so and then after I ate my little pie thing, I went to Buena Vista Street to finish sipping down the Pinot Noir I got. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of funny, you guys. I do love wine and a few other like cocktails or sometimes margaritas and mixed drinks. But I'm super lightweight when it comes to, I'm a super lightweight when it comes, I'm still drunk, you guys, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm a super lightweight when it comes to alcohol. Even just a little glass of wine will get to my head. I've always been that way. I don't know why. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, I'm sipping down this glass of wine, and I'm getting like really, really tipsy. Like, like everything, the ground is starting to wobble beneath my feet. So I'm like sitting down, just enjoying my time. And I'm thinking in my head, like, maybe I should stop drinking this before I get like too tipsy, like not drunk, just a little, just almost there. And I was kind of thinking maybe I should stop drinking this before it gets any worse. But then I realized I spent like $12 on that glass, so it was going down. So anyway, I finished that and stumbled my way back to Disneyland and got on the railroad. So that was my experience with the Food and Wine Festival. It's great. They have some really cool food options. But I kind of realized that as a pass holder, I could get the $49 they have like this special pass that you buy for $49, and you can go around to the different food booths and get as much food as you want. And so I was kind of like, you know what? I'm going to come back someday, buy that pass and do that, because paying for individual things of food, like some of the food, by the way, this is all sample size food, could be anywhere between $15 to $20. So I was kind of like, if I'm going to pay $15 to $20, I want a full meal. So I figure I'm going to get that pass, and then I'm going to like go around to the different booths one day and just start. And that pass, that $49 pass, is good for the whole Food and Wine Festival season. Oh. So that is a deal. But once again, it's only for pass holders. So sorry, you guys. But anyway, I'm going to try that, and I'll get back to you on future podcasts and future vlogs that I do on my show, where I will try the different foods. But if you tune into my vlog, I think on Monday, I think I'm going to post it on Monday, so that way I can overshadow Matterhorn Mondays. Tune into that, and you'll see me eating the pie and drinking the wine. You won't see me get drunk because I'm going to cut that out. But anyway, this has gotten awkward. So, Matt, let's continue on.
Hey there, Mountaineers. Hope you enjoyed this short excerpt from the recent podcast. And if you did, be sure to check out the full episode. The link will be in the description.